What's up, guys? So today I'm gonna hit you guys with a little bit of a story time. I'm gonna tell you guys about the first time that I experienced an engine failure. And before you guys start, the engine failure did not happen in the air; it happened on the ground. So you guys don't have to worry about that. I was perfectly safe, taken to the sky. But anyways, let's talk about this. So crew cross country, right? This when it happened. And this would have been me and my partner's second flight together, I believe. And on the first leg he flew from Palomar to Bakersfield, and I was handling the radios. And we noticed that the CDI indication on the aircraft was totally off. So we had to rely solely on the GPS to operate and stay on course, which was really interesting. So the plane was already giving us some issues, but I was like, whatever, we understand the deviation, we're fine to continue on. And we ended up having it fixed when we landed in Bakersfield. So now it's my turn to fly, and we get into the plane, start it up, do the checklist and whatnot. Everything's running good. And no, it was a hot day, but the plane had been tuned, so to speak, to handle higher temperatures. So a lot of you guys might be saying this or this happened. Probably wasn't that. Anyways, guys, so start with the plane, run the checklist, we start taxiing to the runway. And so at that point, we run the run-up checklist, and we do the mags, and the mags drop heavy. I'm talking like a 250 drop. And so I'm like, that's not good. that's not good at all. So I lean it back. I was like, you know what? Maybe I had too much mixture in. So I lean it back. And we run it again. And this time it's at 100. So I'm like, okay, cool. Fine and dandy. So we finish our run-up checklist, before takeoff checklist, do all that good stuff. And call up to ATC. And we say, ATC November 420 Echo Romeo. And I remember that call sign for that reason. Ready to take off. And so, thankfully, there was a traffic on final, so we had to wait. And while we were waiting, me and my partner kind of had some awkward silence because the plane is kind of shaking. Like, it wasn't like bad, but like, I don't know if you guys ever noticed like a slight misfire in your car. It's kind of what it felt like. And so I look over to my partner and I'm like, hey man, do you feel that? He's like, yeah, dude, I was hoping you're gonna say something. So I was like, yeah, man, I feel that. So we tell ATC that we're gonna need a little delay, so we're sitting where we are, and we ran up the fouled. I have them. I say, let's try running up the fouled spark plug checklist. So we run that through, and it helps a little bit, but still rough. So I'm like, all right, let's run through our lenient procedures. So lenient procedures for ATP, you just run up the engine, and then you just lean it back until it almost quits, and then put some mixture in so you learn out for altitude. So we do all that good stuff, and it helped a little bit, but it was still there. And so he's like, it's your call, bro, your PIC. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, man. So I was thinking about it for a second. I was like, it could be just some rough running spark plugs, or we could have a serious problem. So I call up ATC, and I'm like, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and just turn around and head back to the FBO because there's something going on with this plane, and there's no point in us taking it up. So we go ahead, and we had to hold short on the runway for about another 5 minutes so that we could go onto it to make a U-turn. And all that's all fine and dandy, and we're taxiing back, and the engine quits. It just totally quits. And so I'm like, dude, there's no way this just happened to us. No way at all. And I was like, okay, let me try starting it back up again. Because we need a taxi back to the FBO. So when it first stops, ATC notices, and then they call up to like 0 Echo Romeo, do you guys need help? I'm like, no, we're good. I got this, it's fine, don't worry about us, we're good, man. We're gonna be out your way, no problem. So I try to shut out the plane again. I'm like, okay, cool, it's running, it turned on. And so I give it some power to try to get down the taxiway to go to parking, and the engine quits again. And this time it was not starting back up. And I was like, trying to get it started, it would not start back up. So ATC calls up again, and they're like, 0 Echo Romeo, you sure don't need any backup? I was like, yeah, we're gonna need a tow. Any possible way you could get like a tug down here or something to tow us back to parking. So ATC gives us the FBO's frequency. So we tune to the FBO and we're like, yeah, we just departed from you guys maybe 20 minutes ago, and our aircraft broke down, and we would need you guys to tow us back to parking. So they weren't too sure what we meant by that. They're like, what do you mean tow back to parking? Anyway, so the guy comes with the tug and he's like, oh, so this is what you guys meant. And I'm like, yeah, the engine quit on us. And so he hooks up the plane and he starts towing us back. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna call it flight ops. Now for this next part of the story, it's important that you guys understand that ATP on crew cost countries, before you take off, you need to call flight ops to get your clearance to leave. I had forgotten to call flight ops before I made the decision to take off. So when I called flight ops, I told them, hey, this is Jaden, 420 Echo Romeo, and our engine failed when we were getting ready to take off. And they're like, what do you mean when you're getting ready to take off? And I was like, so we could go to our next airport. And he's like, you're supposed to call us before you take off anywhere. You need to have clearance from us. I'm like, oh boy, oh my bad. And so the guy wasn't that bad. He kind of digged into me a little bit. And he's like, just make sure you call next time, because that is just, no, you cannot do that. And so he was like, all right, well, what happened? And I was like, well, we were taxiing and the engine stopped, point blank. And so he's like, all right, you need to speak to maintenance. And I'm like, oh my God, I just got off the phone with maintenance because, the aircraft is messing up the CDI. Maintenance was not all that helpful. And so they transferred me over and they're like, okay, so why did the engine quit? And I'm like, how would I know why the engine quit? Last I checked, you're maintenance. I'm not maintenance, you're maintenance. And so I was telling them how the plane was already having problems, whatnot. And he started ranting to me about how, the plane's fine, blah, blah, blah. And he started talking about how the shop that we just pulled the plane out of only works with avionics, so they didn't touch the engine at all. And so I'm like, okay, that's great. I really don't care who has touched the engine last. It's not working. So I give him whatever information he needs. And, we get off the phone. I'm like, all right, okay, dude, you're cool. So then we end up getting, we have to call ATP back again. And, we got to tell them, yeah, this plane's stuck here. What do you guys want us to do? Because Bakersfield is not an ATP facility. So there's no other ATP aircraft there for us to just take and go. So they're like, you know what, we're going to have to plan something out for you guys. So they give us a hotel. And note that when the plane quit, it's Saturday, right? And we get a hotel for Saturday night, Sunday morning. And the next day is Monday, Labor Day. Alright? So Sunday comes along and we call up, and it's 7 a.m. We call up and they're like, all right, go ahead and call us back at 11 a.m. So at 11 a.m. we call them again, and they're like, okay, you guys need to get a rental car and drive from Bakersfield to Riverside, and from Riverside we'll figure it all out. And so here's what's interesting, right? It's now 11 o'clock. We're still at the hotel. ATP wants us to, within the next hour, leave the hotel, get out our stuff, go to the Enterprise location where the rental car is at, do all the paperwork, get into the rental car, and then get the rental car from Bakersfield to Riverside within the next 2 hours, because since it's a holiday and it was Sunday and it closes early, we would have had to pay for another day at the car, and we were leaving supposedly early that next morning. So we were booking it, guys. We were absolutely booking it. So we go up to the Enterprise, we get the car, and we're just getting it to Riverside, guys. So we get to that Riverside place at 2:01, and it closes at 2. And thankfully there was a lady there who was willing to work with us a little bit. And so note that it's still in the middle of the summer, and we get out of the Enterprise building, and we're just sitting in front of Enterprise waiting on ATP. So we call them up again, and they're like, yeah, okay, well, go ahead and wait a little bit. We're making your hotel confirmation. And so I'm kind of mad at this point because it's 110 outside, and you're telling us to wait at this rental car agency that's closed. Like, what do you want us to do? And so finally, we get a text saying where our hotel is, and it's on the other side of Riverside. So we then get a rental car, and not a rental car. I'm sorry, guys. We got an Uber. We caught an Uber, and we took an Uber from Enterprise rental car agency over to the hotel we were at. And well, we just called it a day from there. And then after that, that brings me to my Palm Springs story. Not my Palm Springs, my Riverside story on why I do not recommend ATP Riverside. So yeah, that's gonna be a next video. But anyways, guys, this is just a nice little quick little video I figured I'd make about my first engine failure and kind of what it was like for me. I hope I'm not drawing on myself. What it was like for me and what we had to go through. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Talk to you guys later. See ya.